folks, it is noon on a Wednesday. That means it's time for another KukerRanken Lunch and Learn. We're thrilled for those of you who have joined us for this afternoon's presentation. We're very excited to welcome the folks from Inspired Flight, and they're going to tell us about their new products. And so without any further comment, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Baranowski and to Adam Bilmes. Adam, Matt, it's all yours.
Sweet. Thanks, Douglas. Well, good to meet you all. Yeah, like Doug said, my name is Adam Bilmes. I'm a co-founder of Inspired Flight, currently on the business development team along with my colleague, Matt. Let him say hi and introduce himself a little bit.
Yeah, hey, everybody. Nice to meet you. My name's Matt Baranowski. I'm, again, on the biz dev team with Adam over here at Inspired Flight, helping manage the relationship with KukerRanken.
Yeah, absolutely. So, want to first thanks KukerRanken for kind of bringing us onto this call. Excited to meet and get further deeper with their customer base and working to support them. Our partnership now we're more than a few months old, but certainly kind of in those early stages, and have really enjoyed working with Douglas's team really ever since we started, and expecting that to grow. Kind of just for the folks that know KukerRanken well, just want to make sure I mention the fact that really the way that Inspired Flight came to partner with KukerRanken and kind of building out this new channel of business for Inspired Flight is through kind of a long-standing GeoCue partnership. You'll see in the presentation and a few slides that I have to kind of explain who we are. But about 35% of Inspired Flight's business, really since the beginning days, has been LiDAR. And that really all started with GeoCue we started with the 515s and the older systems, but now the 535s, 640s, and the other many numbers of the TrueView systems, really kind of standard integration, have done more than a few dozen of those and currently operating out in the wild. But with that, love to kind of just share my screen to kind of go through a little bit about who we are.
Looking good. We have your
through. Awesome. Let's get rid of that so I can see. Cool. So, like I said, Inspired Flight Technologies. Who we are. So we're based out in California. Inspired Flight. We're in San Luis Obispo, California, which is the Central Coast. For those of you who are familiar, always happy to host folks. If you're ever in the area, come check us out. But we got our start in 2016. Originally, actually, as a components manufacturer. A lot of our initial business, a lot of our initial IP was in our motor technology. But way back when DJI still owned the entirety of the market, we quickly realized that wasn't going to be a very good business model for us, and started producing our own full complete drone platforms. And kind of where Inspired Flight has really chosen to focus has been in that middle to larger space of the SUAS market, so that 10 to 55 pounds. Market. Kind of, if you are familiar with DJI, think M200, M300, M600 type aircraft, certainly focusing on those, the industrial environments primarily. So how do we win? Kind of what are we known for? Build quality, reliability, safety, right? That's always going to be the number one for us. What we're really known for in the industry. The drones that we started delivering way back in 2018 to the drones we're delivering in much larger quantities today. We're really known for build quality. The fact that if you buy an aircraft from Inspired Flight, you're not going to get the rug pulled out from you 9 months later saying, oh, hey, here's a whole new platform and that one you've got no longer works. Really just not in not the way we like to do business. One of the other things we really specialize in is full system integration. So I guess at the kind of the easier end of that spectrum, right, that is full integration with LiDARs like GeoCue, from well-designed antenna mast for the LiDAR systems to well-designed vibration dampening systems, but kind of moving up the scale of complete system integration. We focus a lot with the thermal cameras, with high-resolution optical cameras, multispectral cameras, kind of the gamut there of the commercial UAS applications that we're offering. So we'll get into kind of some specifics of those payloads, but the two main markets, I'd say, with those integrations we serve, as you can see right down here, other than geospatial, commercial infrastructure inspection. That's another primary market of ours. It's particularly electric transmission, but also solar, dams, hydrology, solar, kind of a lot of infrastructure out there that needs to be inspected. Mapping is another really big one of ours in terms of photogrammetry. So that's kind of a little bit about Inspired Flight. The photo you see here right there on the top, just like to point this one out. This was the final photo of Inspired Flight completing its Blue UAS certification. This was taken to the Air Force Academy out in Colorado. But a little bit more about that, of course. One of the reasons Inspired Flight, I like to think at least, has positioned itself well, kind of gained some significant traction up to this point, is, of course, we are one of the Blue UAS certified manufacturers. And one of the ways that we were really able to kind of get there first, if you will, and kind of stake our flag there is way back when in 2016, when we decided to start the company, really more out of a little bit of naivety than anything, we decided to do everything in America. It was really important to our company. We're 100% veteran owned. It's really important to us that we were kind of reshoring American manufacturing. And then, of course, we couldn't foresee in 2019, 2020, when the kind of the regulatory environment started to shift and Chinese drones, DJI more specifically, started to not be allowed on federal projects, federal lands. Of course, that was something our supply chain was already well positioned for, as all we needed to do was kind of lean into that versus like some of our competitors have to completely shift their manufacturing practices to be able to get away from China. So with kind of that Blue UAS focus, everything we sell is NDAA compliant. We like to believe we're one of the most transparent companies when it comes to what parts we're using, where they come from. If you go to our website, you'll find basically a link to a support center through there that gives all of our documentation, all of our sourcing information, where we get our components from. So it's a really easy way if let's say you're a contractor or you're a surveying firm doing some land on a DoD base. We provide all the kind of the paperwork, all the materials you're going to need to be able to go and accomplish that job without getting any hassle. So just getting a little bit into what our aircraft are. So there's going to be two aircraft that Inspired Flight focuses on. This is our larger system, what we call the IF1200A. This is our version 2.0, if you will, of the original system that we launched, the IF1200 in 2020, which was our first foray into the heavy lift game. So IF1200A, a category leader in that category, we're describing here really as multi-rotor electric, hexacopter, multicopter, electric specifically. That's going to be a category leader in flight time, payload capacity under 55 pounds. The aircraft's really only limited by the 55-pound Part 107 rule. So let's say you're operating a COA. Under a COA, there are opportunities to go above that weight limit as well. But at that 55-pound limit, you've got 20 pounds of payload capacity, certainly more than enough for even the highest end Regal Bux-based sensors from GeoCue. The IF1200A, it's designed around an open system modular architecture. We've got tons of customers that are doing, let's say, high resolution photogrammetry out in front of the aircraft, like you can see in this picture here. That's a phase 1 camera, so the highest end you can really get. With the LiDAR in the back, we've got customers that are going from thermal-based sensors, switching to multispectral, depending on the time of season, depending on the specific application they're doing. We work with public safety customers that are using thermal cameras with drop mechanisms for search and rescue based applications. So really, we've designed the IF1200A around what we call a universal payload interface that kind of allows us as a company and our customers to adapt to the needs of the current market and industry, as it's constantly in a state of flux. LiDAR, again, it's our primary market on that. We'll talk specifically about some of our payloads, but the bread and butter for Inspired Flight, other than LiDAR in this aircraft, Sony cameras, the A7R and the RX1R, primarily for photogrammetry. Two of our favorite cameras and a really, really clean integration. And when Inspired Flight is advertising something as fully integrated, that means you're going to have full remote control over all settings. your geotagging metadata with RTK corrections, should you choose to enable that on the 1200A. That's being automatically written to your imagery, kind of providing a clean mapping workflow so you can extract the data you need. So jumping ahead a little bit, this is where it's kind of, we're at a really exciting time for Inspired Flight. If anybody listening to this call is going to be at AUVSI Exponential in 2 weeks, we're actually going to be launching the replacement to the aircraft you see here on the right. So this here is the first aircraft Inspired Flight launched, the IF750. It's of course grown up quite a bit over the years, but we're really at the point of the company where it's ready for a true replacement, a 2.0, if you will. So we're going to be launching that at AUVSI. I guess those on the call right now can know that we're going to be calling it the IF800, not the IF750. But this is really going to be your direct M300 competitor. We're expecting flight time equal, if not better, than the M300. And at AUVSI, you'll be able to see specs of this new aircraft, primarily looking at infrastructure inspection, public safety, and mapping. And the two payloads that we're going to be launching this aircraft built around, other than your smaller LiDARs. So this new aircraft will have 4 kilograms of payload capacity. So if you're looking at some of those smaller TrueView systems, the 535, that might be a great aircraft. Also happens to be half the price as the IF1200A. But we're really focusing on the Workswell Enterprise camera, which is pretty much a direct replacement for the H20T. So it's going to be your 30x optical zoom, radiometric 645/12 thermal, laser rangefinder sensor, as well as the Sony A7R camera for more standard mapping applications. So we're really excited to launch this new aircraft, really expecting it to propel Inspired Flight and our partners a lot farther, and providing kind of the industry here in the States a good alternative to what is the most ubiquitous commercial drone in the marketplace, the M300. So quickly, I think I touched on all of these, and pretty much after this, that's it with the presentation. But as you can see, these are a couple of the kind of the standard payloads that we've integrated and the ones that we recommend to our customers. Of course, we work with a ton of R&D customers, universities that are leveraging the integration capabilities of the platform to do their own thing, depending on that application. I'm never really surprised anymore in this industry what folks are trying to integrate with aerial platforms. But yeah, I guess with that, well, we can go through. These are just a couple quick examples of some of our customers in the space. So some big name customers you may be familiar with: Electric Utilities, Southern Company, First Energy, some of our larger customers in this space. And then surveying and mapping, of course. The top 2 customers here, Dewberry and Fisher Arnold. It's not a great thing to put on a slide, as you can't see this white paper, but it's available online. There's a white paper that Dewberry wrote about using an IF1200 Blue UAS system with a TrueView Regal-based system to accomplish a DoD-based project. Yeah. That's pretty much the end of the my presentation. We're going to start getting into some of the weeds after that. But I'm really looking forward to just answering any questions if anybody's got, and learning a little bit more about what y'all do.
Adam, we have a question coming in from the Facebook group. They're asking, this is a weird question. This is a question I wasn't expecting. Is this a PixHawk controller, or is it a PX4 flight stack? So
Okay.
Sure.
No, yeah, I think I understand what they're getting at. And so the answer is going to be kind of neither to both of those, but specifically what Inspired Flight is using. The operating software, the flight control ecosystem we're working in is called ArduPilot, very similar to PX4. And we're using a cube-based architecture as the hardware for our flight controller.
Ardu and PX are so close. That's all we have so far, Adam. But one of the questions, I guess, that if we're since you've mentioned using ArduPilot and so forth, are there I assume you're using QGIS or something similar for your?
Yep. Yeah, no, so Q ground control is the kind of our standard preferred, if you will. Not necessarily preferred, but that's our standard offering. One, because it's free. Two, because it's widely ubiquitous, well supported in the marketplace. The other one that we do have an official integration with is UGCS. And we found a lot of our LiDAR customers like to use that system as it offers a little bit more fine tuning. That's going to definitely require a more advanced user.
Outstanding. And just looking for a next question here. Trying to read this on, forgive me, I'm trying to read this on the phone. It gets a little bit sketchy. Can you tell us a little bit about the frequencies that the system is operating on?
Sure. Kind of our standard, the standard method of frequency from us is 2.4 gigahertz. We're using what's called a point-to-point LTE network. So even, for example, or point-to-point LTE connection, not network. Even if, for example, you are using a custom payload or some third-party integration that's also emitting a 2.4 frequency, our radio and controller system, it's going to lane switch pretty incredibly. So we have yet to really see any interference with 2.4 if that's the primary concern. For that question, if you're looking to kind of understand range of the system, we're really looking at, you're going to be constrained more by battery and regulatory requirements than you will the true range of the system. If you really wanted to, I mean, the radio system is rated for 10 kilometers. There's videos and plenty of folks online pushing this radio system way farther than that.
So follow-up question, I think this was the main reason they asked, is there a 900 megahertz option available?
There is a 900 megahertz option available. The only considerations for our 900 megahertz option is that system does not enable video streaming. So if you're looking for a LiDAR-based system, the 900 megahertz option is perfect. If you're looking, for example, instead for like an inspection-based aircraft, you're going to struggle using that 900 megahertz-based system.
Okay. And question from someone else here is will they be able to operate multiple payloads simultaneously on one platform?
So we're not able to operate multiple gimbaled payloads currently. Let's say you have a kind of a distinct Sony camera and a separate thermal camera. We're not going to be able to operate those separately. Right now, what we can operate at multiple times is typically folks are mounting or integrating via like PWM, a payload at the back, and then you've got one primary gimbal payload that can operate. The aircraft does support 2 video streams at a time that you can switch between. Typically, the standard on that is, of course, your gimbaled sensor is your primary video stream, and the aircraft comes standard with an FPV camera as well.
Let's see. Is there terrain following on the IF800?
In terms of active terrain following with an altimeter or a laser, the answer today is no. The answer in about a month will be yes. That is just in full transparency. It's one of our primary kind of engineering priorities right now. But just want to be honest when I say it's not there yet. If you order it today, come back to us at the end of the month in May. We're looking to integrate true terrain following capability through like the UGCS Sky Hub. In terms of a more passive type of terrain following, that's a capability on board the aircraft today, whether it's using Google or Bing map data, or if you're loading your own DEM or KLM file into the aircraft, it can terrain follow based off of that.
Excellent. Still, we've got time for 1 or 2 more questions here. Let's see if we can get through it before I get kicked off again. I'm not sure what's going on with the Whitepaper at the university, but we'll deal with it. So meanwhile, unless we have any other questions come forward, I'll share with folks that we have, of course, future Lunch and Learns coming up. On May 3rd, we have battery maintenance with Ben Goddard. So we're going to be going through how to keep your batteries healthy, how to store, revive, et cetera, your lithium polymer batteries that we use in all, not just in our aircraft, but actually in all of our survey equipment, whether you're using an RTC or you're using some type of a chargeable system or you've got a drone, it really doesn't matter. We'll be talking about maintaining batteries. That's on May 3rd. Then coming up on May 17th, we're going to be having an overview with the MapTech A2 and A3, reviewing some data sets with the MapTech with Brady Reich. On May 17th, Leica Total Stations, Models and Options with Jeremy Kippen. And then May 20th, we have the Leica TS16 Total Station with Josh Crawford from up in our Portland office. So that'll round us out through the month of May. If you haven't signed up for our newsletter, you've got that newsletter link in the chat box down below. That gets you into both our standard survey newsletter as well as our UAS newsletter. And we would be thrilled to be able to send you out a KukerRanken calendar and, of course, a KukerRanken catalog if you just let us know where to send it. We just drop us an email and we'll be happy to send that out. Adam, I got to tell you, we're really looking forward to, in our 2024 catalog, having an Inspired Flight drone in there as one of our featured products. So we're really thrilled to have Inspired Flight become part of the KukerRanken family. We pride ourselves on our UAS team. I think we've assembled some of the most knowledgeable UAS people in survey and AEC and inspection and so forth. In fact, I think you're aware we're at a conference down here. We're dealing with DOTs and emergency management people from all over Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, Nevada, and California. So we've got quite an eclectic mix of UAS pilots that operate in various DOT and other roadside functions. And Inspired Flight is one of the top queried things. The most often asked question this morning before the day began was, what do you have that's an alternative to a Chinese manufactured drone? Because my state either already has banned it or they're going to ban it. And so Inspired Flight is a really wonderful alternative for people seeking a high quality aircraft at an accessible price.
Well, absolutely. We appreciate that. I mean, there's really no more exciting place to be than this industry in 2023. So
it's a great time. Well, folks, I haven't seen any other questions roll up. I'll check in with our moderator real quick. Did anything further come through? All right, to our Facebook users, thanks for joining us today. For the rest of you, we will have an edited version of this recording online at the KukerRanken Lunch and Learn page by the end of the week. Be sure to check in for Lunch and Learns coming up in the next few weeks. And Adam and Matt, I want to thank you both for taking time out of your busy days to spend some time with our customers on this Lunch and Learn presentation. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks so much, Douglas.
Thanks, everybody.
Everyone else, thank you very much. We will see you next week at Battery Maintenance with Ben Goddard.